All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the April 10th, 2025 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Here.
Councilmember Belanca,
Here.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the meeting with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
1 second here, Mr. Supervisor. Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 19th, 2025 regular meeting and the March 27th, 2025 special meeting.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Abstain.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Before we do the announcements or the presentations, public hearings, we're going to first have a two recognition resolutions. So fellow board members, I have resolution 7-146, 2025. Whereas Brendan Thomas Bear has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout in Boy Scout Troop 750. And whereas to achieve that rank, Brendan earned 34 merit badges, including first aid, snow sports, and aviation, where he was able to fly a plane. And in doing so, he earned a bronze and a gold Palm Award for going above and beyond the requirements for Eagle Scout. And whereas during his time in Scouts, Brendan served 1 term as patrol leader, 2 terms as assistant senior patrol leader, and 3 terms as senior patrol leader. In addition, he received the Order of the Arrow Brotherhood and earned the National Outdoor Award for camping. And whereas Brendan will graduate from Rush Henrietta Sperry High School in the spring of 2025, where he achieved high honor roll every semester, was a member of the German Club, the Europe Club, and the National Honor Society, and received the St. Lawrence University Book Award Scholarship, with plans to attend college beginning in the fall of 2025. And whereas for his Eagle project, Brendan led efforts to revitalize the youth campground located in Northampton Park, including cleaning and revitalizing the fireplace located there, and installing 4 new benches in the area for the youth to utilize in the campground. Therefore, be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board joins the Pinnacle Lutheran Church, sponsors of Troop 750, in recognizing the achievement and honor of Brendan Thomas Bear in attaining the rank of Eagle Scout.
Seconded.
So for those who aren't aware, it's a small percentage of Scouts who actually make it to Eagle Scout. It's something like I don't remember if it's 4, 5, or 6%. I'm part of that other portion. I didn't make it. It's really impressive. Having been a parent of a Scout who is working in that direction, I will tell you that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. Shows, a strong commitment to get to that point. And just hats off to the individuals who do it. And congratulations to Brendan in specific. Some others?
Just congratulations.
Hey, Brendan, congratulations. You make our community proud. As a former educator, there's not anything any more important on your resume as you go forward in life than the Eagle Scout Award. It's earned, it's not given. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Brendan. Well done.
Can we get the picture?
Is there anyone who wishes to speak from the public, including Brendan, if you want to say anything? You don't have to, but you're welcome to. Good practice for your your
No
ceremony.
pressure, though.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. So we do have a certificate. We'll hand that to you. We'll give you a photo opportunity and if you want to come on up. And don't let me forget to call the roll.
Right.
You come up there? Greg's, I think Greg's gonna get a picture, so we're gonna set up. They got a picture.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, thank
Or that's actually.
You play football. You talking about the Yankees comment or the book? Okay.
So hearing and seeing no further comment, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-147, 2025. Whereas the Henrietta Youth Board has selected 26 exceptional young people to be inducted into the year 2025 Youth Hall of Fame because of their special accomplishments. And whereas these individuals have made significant contributions to the Henrietta community and/or have made a great personal achievement. And whereas the Henrietta Town Board hereby recognizes the contributions and achievements of these young people, therefore be it resolved that Simran Adukhalil, Fadwa Aldulemi, Allison Albin, Davion Allen, Katrina Brown, Cameron Carroll, Ava Champion, Aditi Chauhan, Simone Cravata, Kaylee Duda, Ashley Ficara, Ethan Fulton, Liam Gilroy, Kyra Johnson, Anna Leathersich, Max Matisse, Caitlin Militello, Corinne Wynn, Dibya Panda, Sarabi Sathishkumar, Abigail Slisher, Gavin Taylor, Jovan Tumani, Maitu Tran, Raj Vagela, and Austin Zhang are congratulated by the town board for their induction into the year 2025 Youth Hall of Fame and will be recognized for their positive influence on the quality of life in our community.
Second.
So I'd just like to say congratulations to all the students who've received this honor. And congratulations to the parents as well. The influence that parents obviously have over their children leads a lot of times to the recognition that you see with the students. So we don't grow up in a vacuum, and so it's a huge testament to all involved. And I will also say that the selection, it's interesting in terms of just seeing over the years how much our town has grown in its diversity and the breadth of cultures and folks who have come here. It's just, it's a great tapestry of our country, but especially of this area. And it's led to, you know, our adoption of the motto, "A Town for All," because we just have so many different origins as to, you know, where people came from here. It's wonderful to see, and that we're all part of a much larger community. So again, congratulations to everybody. Others.
And as part of that, I was involved in that in the beginning. The Hall of Fame is a holistic award. It's not awarded to the smartest person in class, the best athlete in the school. It's awarded to young American students who have made a difference in our community, who have suffered sometimes unbelievable sorrow and pain, who have volunteered to help others in our community, who've gone out of their way to distinguish themselves as good people doing good things that make our community special. And so we're very proud of each and every one of you. I think this is the 49th year.
As Supervisor has said, and Rick, it's a great honor to honor these young students. Like Brendan, our Eagle Scout, this is a great resume builder, and take this on in life to college and everything that you do. We're very proud of you.
And as Councilman Mr. Page said, the 49th class that's come in, this is an incredibly long-standing tradition and honor in our town. It's a very select group of young men and women that we include in this, and it really represents the best of our community. And you should be very, very proud of this accomplishment. I know that our town is very proud of you.
I just want to congratulate everyone and thank you for being part of our community.
Is there anybody who would like to come up and speak?
I would like to just recognize the students that came here tonight to be recognized for the Youth Hall of Fame. We have Katrina Brown, Cameron Carroll, Simone Cravata, Ethan Fulton, Liam Gilroy, Tyra Johnson, Matt Matisse, and Siri Kumar. And they are just a representative of these wonderful 26 kids, and we are very proud. On behalf of the Youth Board, we congratulate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So for those who aren't aware, the plaques up here, the plaques get added in the rec center. And then all year long, so after the award dinner, you'll have the photographs already taken. But they'll be basically after the dinner, they get put up here in the town hall and they're there for a year. And so every time you come in, even if it's something painful like paying taxes, you can turn around and look at your kid on the wall and feel that pride all over again. So, you know, again, it's a wonderful thing that this town started 49 years ago. And it's kept going strong. A lot of kids have come through this, so just amazing. So thank you.
Steve, I'd also like to thank Barb Christensen, who's in the audience, who was one of the founding, I won't say fathers, one of the founding mothers of this wonderful award. Thank you, Barb, for all your support.
And we'll now move to our special use permit. I will also give time for the parents, the families of the recipients. There's a reception for them downstairs. So I'll give you guys a chance to move out while the presenters for the special use permit application move in.
Be careful with that heavy thing. I know.
And I'm sure Eagle Scouts would be welcome at the reception downstairs too. That's right.
On the other side. Donations.
Well, especially when they make good cookies. See, and Peter, you thought you were gonna have a full house for your presentation. Sorry about that.
We had one last time.
That's right.
All right. Rebecca Spur with BME Associates. Funny enough, a 2009 Youth Hall of Fame honoree.
Hey, congratulations.
So I was gonna say, maybe in a couple of years, more than a couple, they could be right back here.
That's right.
You probably can go join them down there too after
That's
your
right.
Yeah,
presentation.
I should. Had to say that. So yeah, so last time we were before the board, we gave our presentation to discuss the project. The board requested we reach out to the owner, discuss the parking, the reduced parking, and obtain a letter. So we have provided that, and we see it's in the resolution. So we see that that was kind of the last outstanding item. But if you have any other questions, we're happy to answer.
I didn't, we addressed most of the issues for, as far as I was concerned last week. Just one of the things I like to do when we talk about this is run down the list of conditions that we put on the special use permit. It makes clear the project shall be constructed and operated as a hotel. It is not for residents. The applicant agrees to construct the buildings in accordance with town's draft design guidelines to the maximum extent feasible. The project shall be developed and operated consistent with the concept most recently submitted prior to approval, subject to any modifications by the planning board during its site plan review. And that the owner of the Plaza Flom Management Company be made aware that by acknowledging the development of the proposed hotel project, that they are limiting the use of the remaining property because of the reduced parking spaces available. For example, a large call center may not be feasible because there may not be enough parking spaces available in the plaza. And to your note, we did receive the letter from Flom, so we're all set in that regards. But those were the 4 conditions. I assume none of those are too onerous to
Nope,
operate.
acknowledged, yep, sir.
Right. Any other questions, comments from the board?
Is the, are you guys buying the property or leasing?
Yes, they will be purchasing, yep.
Okay. And the other question is, do you plan on asking the zoning board for any variances for this hotel?
Maybe related to
Signage,
signage,
yeah.
yes.
Everybody asked for variances for signage.
Yes, there will be, yeah.
We are working on updating the sign code. It's just voluminous.
There will be a few, yeah.
Thank you.
Any others?
I'm good. Thank
Are
you.
there any questions or comments from the public? Then hearing and seeing none, I am going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2025-008 and 009, Wood Spring Suites Hotel, 1180 Jefferson Road, to allow the construction of a 4-story hotel, special use permit 2025-008, with a building height of 40 plus or minus 48 feet, whereas town code only permits a height of 40 feet, special use permit 2025-009. I'll just note with the way that's worded, the town code permits a height of 40 feet without special approval. The code does permit it to go above 40 feet with the special approval. So there's a lot of people say, oh, well, you're violating town code. We're not. That's what town code calls for. So, all right. Do I have well, I know I have a resolution.
Yeah, first. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-148, 2025. Accept the secret determination and issue a negative declaration. Wood Spring Hotel Suite or Suite Hotel. Excuse me. Sorry.
So for those who don't know, a negative declaration means that there are no remaining unmitigated potential adverse impacts. So anything identified as part of the seeker process as a potential adverse impact has been mitigated. One of those is the impact on the rest of the plaza, which is mitigated by the plaza owner accepting that as their choice of business to sell this. So any comments regarding this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Done.
No, this the one more.
One thing that I forgot to ask during our meeting, are there any plans for a pilot or any things like that on this project?
You're coming up, please, to the mic. Yep.
I believe we discussed this at the last meeting. We'll definitely go for a sales tax abatement. As far as the pilot program, I leave that to the owner. I don't know if he plans on. I know the supervisor and him have had conversations, and I leave those conversations between them. Try not to speak.
Other than I'll just say that we're in general opposed to the pilot for a business that doesn't specifically bring in external dollars. That's the whole concept of a pilot, is that I'm bringing in additional tax revenue elsewhere. Whereas the people who generally stay at the Wood Springs Suites Hotel are from out of the area. They're not coming here specifically because of the Wood Springs Hotel. They're coming here for some other purpose. They might be choosing the Wood Springs Hotel because they like the brand, but like I said, that's not typically what draws it here. So we've already expressed that opinion to Comida, who ultimately makes the decision. As far as whether they get the sales tax exemption, that's really a Comida call, not a town board call.
So I only asked the question. I know we discussed it for the public.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because they probably may have not heard our conversation.
I just thought I was going to sit in the back the whole time. I didn't know I'd have to walk.
Or anything else, but thank you for your answer. I
Of
appreciate it.
course, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All set.
Would we be able to get your name for the record, please?
I'm so sorry. John Ott, OTT.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
With that being said, Supervisor Schultz, fellow board members, I have resolution 1-7-149, 2025 to approve special use permit application numbers 2025-08 and 09 to allow the development of a fourth-story Wood Springs Suites Hotel with an increased maximum building height.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. If you want to send an email to supervisor@henrietta.org, I can introduce you to the Henrietta Chamber of Commerce. They can help with grand opening, ribbon cutting, that type of stuff. They do have the giant scissors. As well as I'd asked them to put this in place. We passed it at yesterday's meeting, that for all new businesses coming in, once you open, you get 1 free year's membership in the Chamber of Commerce. So for all new businesses coming to Henrietta. So
Congratulations.
Great.
John.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
next up, I have a public hearing for proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to clarify the buffering requirements for the cannabis production facilities. Just to be clear, the buffering requirements aren't what needs clarification. It's really editing. There was a cut and paste error. The buffering requirements are the same that we have for adult use cannabis dispensaries. And when I put the language together, I missed a couple places to switch the word dispensary with the word basically production or facility. So This is just to correct that verbiage. You can't unfortunately just say it's a Scrivener error. You have to go through the whole process of updating the code through a local law. So anybody have any questions, comments on this? Fairly straightforward. But then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to clarify the buffering requirements for the cannabis production facilities. Next up, I have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to relieve restrictions relating to livestock on startup farms in the rural residential district by obtaining a special use permit. So one of the things that we discovered, most of the more recent startup farms started up as crop farms. The most recent livestock farm had been previously a crop farm, so it already had the agricultural designation. But there are things you can do on a farm that you cannot do in a residential property, right? You certainly wouldn't want to herd cows in the middle of a residential neighborhood. The problem that runs into then is if I want to start up a livestock farm, it typically takes 2 years for you to get to the point where you can be designated a farm under New York State Ag and Markets Law, during which time you're now in conflict with the prohibitions against residential properties. In New York State, we are a more or less a farming first type state. So the idea is that there shouldn't be restrictions against starting up farms. And so the idea is if somebody comes in with a plan for a farm, how they're going to do the livestock. And a lot of that is handled by the Department of Ag and Markets. They actually have a form that they fill out talking about their plans to get started on a farm. But if they've done that, they can get a special use permit, which basically says during this time when you're a startup, we can waive the restrictions. And it gives the standard, again, 2 years time is what Ag and Markets recommends. If at the end of that 2 years time, they haven't achieved the full status, then the town board could extend it if for some reason that, they ran into issues as to why they couldn't get completed in 2 years. So any questions, comments about that? Then hearing and seeing no comments, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to relieve restrictions relating to livestock on startup farms in the rural residential district by obtaining a special use permit. That concludes our public hearings. Can I get my next resolution?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-150, 2025, to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-151, 2025. To authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for March 21, 2025 through today, April 10, 2025.
Seconded.
Any comments, questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-152, 2025 to approve replacement windows and an accessory structure at 1780 Lehigh Station Road, a designated historic site under Article 10 of the Town Code.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Oh, Gary was here. He must,
Stepped out, huh?
oh, he got a phone call? Okay.
The cost of the windows is borne by the person who bought it, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, this is just a question of, Gary, we're on the Article 10. for 1780 Lehigh Station Road. I don't know if you wish to make any comments or not. You don't need to, but. Okay, yeah, so basically it's just, they're supposed to run the replacement windows in, and the accessory structure past the, Historic Site Committee, who makes recommendations to the town board. The idea is that you don't want to go to windows that, aren't in character with the historic nature of the building. Yeah,
Thank you.
so.
That's what I figured.
Hearing and seeing no further comments, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-153, 2025. To approve a fence at 959 Hawkins Road, a designated historic site under Article 10 of the Town Code.
Second.
So in this case, they're replacing a broken picket fence. Because it's in the front of the property, it comes under Article 10. If it was at the back line behind the house, it wouldn't come up for vote, but they're basically replacing it with the same style and appearance as the current one. So this did, again, the recommendation was for it to move forward. Did you want to speak on this one coming up?
Gary Goodrich, Chair of the Henrietta Historic Site Committee. I just wanted to comment that the new homeowner of this property has been very, very excited about the fact that it's historic and trying to keep it as such. And it's been bending over backwards with us and the building department because unfortunately the original fence was installed in 1990 without a permit. And it was installed within the easements. It's actually installed right over the sewer lines. So it had to be moved. And we've been going back and forth and we worked out a compromise with her that she's very happy with.
Great.
Good.
So we just wanted to thank her for appreciating her historic property and being so willing to compromise on this and keep it the way it's been looking for many, many years.
No, that's great. As you know, I'm a huge advocate of preserving our history, and I think it's great when homeowners are willing to take that on, because to be honest, it is an additional cost. So we've been doing whatever we can from a town to help in that regards. But it's on the part of the homeowners to do the majority of that. So
Right. So, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-154, 2025 to authorize the tax certiorari settlement with Frontier Center LLC, Joe Sorenza as executor of the estate of Richard Sorenza and Frontier Car Wash LLC for 2199 and 2205 East Henrietta Road.
Second.
So if I remember the details of the settlement, unfortunately, our assessor has been in the town of Rush for the process with regards to informal grievances and assessments, but there was no I should double check. I'm pretty sure
There was not any revenue
it was,
projection for this.
yeah, so it was, there was no reimbursement. It's
Yeah.
all going forward. So
Right.
that's one of the things she tries to do in the settlements, because it can be problematic for taxing authorities to have to return revenue. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-155, 2025. To authorize the tax certiorari settlement with SSG West Henrietta LLC for 70 Erie Station Road.
Second. So again, I believe on all three of these, there was no
I don't think-
reimbursement
No, the
required.
appraisal was just
I
lower.
think they're all going forward.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-156, 2025 to authorize a tax certiorari settlement with Rochester Erie Station Owner LLC for 1545 Erie Station Road and 3 locations on Traditions Place.
Seconded.
So this one is with regards to the former Legacy. And it's now this is the new owner, Rochester Erie Station Owner LLC. In addition to the main building, they also have some of the townhomes on Traditions Place that are for rent. Obviously, this doesn't affect the ones that are owned. These are just the for rent ones. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-157, 2025 to appoint Valerie Johnson as a member to the Board of Assessment Review.
Second.
So we had one member of the Board of Assessment Review step down. We previously had appointed a alternate member. So she is moving up to fill that open space. Any questions? Coming up?
Yes, Nicholas Hurst, 62 Wickwine Lane, Henrietta, New York. Who is the person that stepped down, if you don't mind my asking?
James Riddell.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-158, 2025 to issue a notice to perform work to the owner of 1200 Marketplace Drive, Walmart Supercenter, for the repair of their private road drive aisle.
Second.
So like we did previously with Southtown Plaza, there are some potholes in here that present a significant danger to motorists. We had previously tried to contact Walmart. We finally were able to get a hold of them, but it hasn't been repaired to this point. We didn't feel they certainly didn't have a whole lot of time between the time we finally got a hold of them and today to get the repairs done, but we felt we still want to put out the notice because this starts the clock ticking. We just don't feel that some of these potholes are very deep and that it's safe to our motorists to leave those. If we didn't issue it now, it would add another 3 weeks potential delay. So obviously if they get the repairs done before the timeline according to this, then essentially this is all done with. But if they don't, like what happened at Southtown, then we come in, we do the repairs, we record all of our time done, all the material costs, all of our loaded labor rates, as well as the loaded vehicular rates, and we bill that to the property owners. If they refuse to pay, it gets levied against their taxes as a lien on the property. So We typically, obviously, we don't prefer doing this. We would hope that property owners upkeep their property. Unfortunately, that does not always happen. I will note that we'd originally had a second one of these tonight. However, the owners of the Marketplace Mall filled in the problem areas. There's still a couple others that we would like them to do. They're not dangerous like the ones that they'd already filled in, but they could still use some repairs. But they took care of the ones that constitute a danger.
Right.
So that's why you'll only see the one for Walmart. If you saw the original agenda for the workshop, there was a second one on here. But again, between then and now, they did get those ones taken care of. So we pulled it. So again, we've been in discussions with Walmart for some work that they're looking to do. So hopefully they'll get this taken care of quickly. Because again, somebody could see damage to their vehicle if they hit those potholes at any kind of speed. So any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-159-2025 to award the town newsletter printing bid to Panther Graphics.
Second.
So we did receive a number of bids. We had put in some alternatives and methods to bring the cost down. It was successful because the previous bid cycle, we didn't have as many respondents, and we only had the 20-page option, and we didn't have a multi-year contract discount. So between those, it has brought the cost down. So still more expensive than we'd previously been getting printed, but as costs are going up for businesses all around, it doesn't surprise us that the costs are higher. It was just a little bit of a sticker shock the first go around.
Smart to put it out to bid again, just to be sure.
Yep.
Thanks for doing that.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-160, 2025, to award the 2025 creek cutting bid to Ted Hosmer Enterprises Incorporated.
Second. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-161, 2025, to call for a public hearing on a proposed local law to update parking requirements for commercial and industrial uses.
Seconded.
So, over the years, both driving, shopping, and parking habits have changed. And so we find if we continue to use the older codes, that you end up with large, mostly empty parking lots. And so our engineering team and our highway team worked together, went through, as well as our planning folks from our planning board, went through and looked at what some standards are for the number of required parking spaces. You know, one of the things we require here in Henrietta is that all businesses have adequate off-street parking, so that people are not parking in the roads. And so they put together better numbers. A couple things we did is we've moved that table to an appendix. This is similar to what we do with our fee schedule. And the reason for that is then as we get, new categories of business. So for instance, a few years ago, we didn't have cannabis dispensaries, right? as you start to get new categories of business, if they should happen to have different levels of parking, it makes it much easier to then add and keep that table updated to reflect those changes. We did add a couple other things in there as well, including for the planning board to be able to, as part of the site plan review, to be able to approve a change up to 10%. And we did that as an attempt to try to minimize the number of boards that a business has to appear in front of. However, if someone has a significant change above 10% that they wish to apply for, they will have to go to the zoning board of appeals and get a area variance in order to do that. But I'm happy with the number. We took a look at, a couple other things that changed from the olden days. As you see more of these big box stores, like the bigger hardware stores that have much greater inventories, and it's big space inventory. So if you think about it, the amount of square footage, the number of people per square foot of that building is greatly reduced. Therefore, the amount of parking spaces needed per square foot of the building is reduced as compared to a more traditional, certainly, as you compared it to like the Sears and JCPenney's type department stores. So they basically updated for a lot of that type of stuff. You'll see that stores were broken out into a bunch more categories. Apartments were broken out into more categories because the number of spaces needed for senior apartments is different than for student apartments, which is different than multifamily, which is different than affordable. So they basically look at a lot of these studies and have gone and looked at what other communities have with newer updates to try to come up with these numbers. So thanks to everybody who was involved in that, and a special shout out to Dan, who I put this local law together in short order for me, because it came to him middle last week and said, "Hey, here's the new code. Can you wrap a local law around it?" So
Thanks again, Dan, for your help. Appreciate it.
any other questions, comments? And again, thank you to the engineering team and all the folks involved in putting this together. Then hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-162, 2025. To declare intent to be lead agency for seeker review of proposed pedestrian bridge improvements at Veterans Memorial Park in a residential R1-15 zone district.
Second.
So as you can see, one of the things we're going to be doing is today, if you're coming out of Veterans Memorial Park, there is not a separate pedestrian path. You actually have to walk on the road bridge. At the 4th of July, that's especially challenging, as all the people are trying to exit on foot and all the people trying to exit in cars. So we're going to add a pedestrian bridge to the east of that. And there's that sidewalk that comes right down the east side of Memorial Drive. We'll have a bridge going across, and then it'll connect with the cross path. If you look at where most of the people coming out of the 4th of July go from that, a lot of them go to the right, so it'll actually work really well. But obviously, anytime we're putting in a bridge over a creek, and one is, that sees as much water flow through it from residential neighborhoods as this one, it's important that we do our work to make sure that we are not impeding the flow of that creek and causing potential upstream issues. So any questions, comments?
I like it because it improves safety.
Yeah, me too. Then were you going to say something, Mike?
Did you mention, wasn't that through a grant?
Yeah, so one of the things, some of the funding for this will be from a community development block grant. Originally, we were going to be doing the second phase of our sewer work over on River Meadow Drive. Unfortunately, in the last census, River Meadow Drive is no longer in a qualified census tract, and therefore we cannot use community development block grant funding for that area. So we had to come up with a new project for this. We'd actually been planning this, and so we needed something that was essentially, I won't say shovel ready, but was already engineered. And so we brought this forward, and they did accept it, because whereas River Meadow Drive is in a qualified census tract, we are located in a qualified census tract. So we were able to use it here in the park. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-163, 2025. To authorize the supervisor to execute a drainage and a drainage and access easement for parcel located along Pinnacle Road, having tax account number of 176.08-1-80.
Second.
So this is that parcel that was discussed previously that's up for sale. We're currently the owner of the parcel. We're going to place an easement on it. The owner doesn't have a problem with us putting an easement on it since it's us.
Right.
That's what the original purpose of this parcel was to provide access. There's a roughly 75-foot long culvert that exits there, and that provides a lot of drainage for that portion of town, and then flows through a creek following that. So we needed access to be able to get to the mouth of that culvert, as well as to clear the creek should it become, clogged with either fallen trees, or we do have beavers that operate, shall we say, in Henrietta. So any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-164, 2025, to authorize Maher Engineering, PLLC, to provide professional structural design services for the Veterans Memorial Park Band Show.
Second.
So if you've been in our band shell as of recent years, you'll notice that the current temporary one, the canvas, is in rough shape. We did have some repairs done to it last year. We'll be replacing it with a permanent band shell. The funding for this is coming from two sources. The first source is the tax levy increase that was passed by referendum. I guess it would have been 2 years ago. And that was basically was authorized an additional $200,000 a year to be used on improvements to our parks and recreation facilities. So the first year it was used for the construction of the spray park. This year it's for the construction of a new band shell. Next year it's being designated for improvements to Tinker Park, specifically restrooms and playground on the east side, basically the southeast corner of the park. So, but like I said, this year it's being allocated to the band shell. And then the second source is there was one solar project being done by Green Spark Solar, that the property is not a working farm. And so they were, as is typically required through our town code, but because of where it was located and the details surrounding it, they were able to do it under an incentive zoning. And the community benefit that they chose was to make an improvement to the town park. They were actually starting the design in this, but it was taking too long. As you can imagine, they have other priorities. And so we decided to take it over, and they're just gonna pay us the $150,000, which is what they had committed towards the project. So
Beautiful.
any other questions, comments? I will note that in addition to being the band shell, it will also have 2 restrooms located there, so that those will be available to concert goers as well as to people attending the farmers market that we do there in the summer. So no more porta potties there after this year. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-165, 2025, to authorize Kenyon Pipeline Inspection LLC to repair the sanitary sewer pipe on River Meadow Drive, Phase 2.
Second. So this was originally going to be done under the Community Development Block Grant. We're doing it from our sewer budget because, as I mentioned, it's no longer a qualified census tract. Fortunately, we did have enough money in the sewer budget because we've been fortunate that we have not had any major repairs. And so every year there's an amount of contingency in there. If we see no major repairs, that contingency can build up, and then we can use it for projects like this. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-166 to 2025 to authorize Kenyon Pipeline Inspection LLC to repair the sanitary sewer pipes in the Suburban Heights subdivision, Phase 2.
Seconded.
So again, this was originally going to be done under Community Development Block Grant. And again, this neighborhood also is no longer a QCT. But as I mentioned earlier, we do have money in our sewer fund to make these repairs. This was originally started, Phase 1 was started when we had done some inspections and discovered that there were some aging and failing infrastructure. So we did the sections that were in the worst condition that first year. And then this is being done, obviously, we're finishing up the remainder this year. So any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-167, 2025, to accept a proposal from Precision Safe Sidewalks LLC for the grinding of hazardous sidewalks located on Pinnacle Road.
Second. So we've done this on a couple others. This is areas where over time you've seen some heaving and our roots pushing up. Where we can, we grind it down. Where it's so significant that it's caused damage to the blocks, or that you'd have to grind so much that it would become too thin. In those cases, we pull those sections up and re-pour them. But by doing the grinding, it saves a significant amount of money and allows us to stretch our sidewalk funds further and address a greater number of sidewalk areas. So I'd like to thank our Public Works Department for again finding ways to potentially save money and stretch our funds further. Any further questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-168, 2025. To declare the item surplus materials from the Public Works and the IT departments.
Seconded.
Any questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-169, 2025 to authorize the installation of a traffic control stop sign on Fairwood Drive at East River Road as requested by the Monroe County DOT.
Second.
So, for those who didn't see it in previous meetings, we are taking over dedication of Fairwood Drive and portions of Rivers Run. They will become public roads. There is currently a private stop sign there. We are switching it to a public stop sign. Public traffic control devices essentially have to be approved by the local municipality, which in this case is us. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 7-170, 2025 to authorize the purchase of a new stainless steel side dump body kit for the highway department.
Second. So again, in the efforts to save taxpayer dollars, they've looked at ways to extend the life of some of our trucks. The truck chassis and engine are still doing fine. The dump body leaks. It's so corroded from salt and other stuff. We are going to replace it with a stainless steel dump body that will outlive the life of the truck. But the plan is then when the truck engine or chassis dies, we will transfer this stainless steel dump body to a new truck. So it's a way to get, again, longer life out of our trucks and save us money. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-171, 2025 to acknowledge receipt of the February 2025 revenue and expense reports.
Seconded.
This is a procedural thing now that we have to do. You'll be hearing it essentially roughly once a month. We've been receiving these reports. They want the town board to actually acknowledge it in a resolution.
Great.
So, any further questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, resolution number 7-172, 2025. To approve the audited 2024 financial statements and other annual reports.
Second.
So once again, we passed audits with flying colors. Hats off to our finance director and her team, as well as to all the department heads and everybody who contributes to the procedures, policies, procedures, and again, basically not just putting them in place, but living up to them. That gets our continual clean bill of health from a financial standpoint. It's a lot of work to go through these audits, but it's worth it from a reassurance standpoint and oversight standpoint. So again, thanks to everybody involved. Any other questions, comments?
Just say thanks to our finance director, Linda, and her team for doing such a great job with our audit.
Hearing and seeing no further comments, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 7-173, 2025 to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Seconded.
Any comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 7-174, 2025. To adopt the local law number 6 of 2025 to amend the zoning code of the town of Henrietta to clarify the buffering requirements for the cannabis production facilities.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I will note that we did not vote on the other proposed local law, as there is a 30-day requirement to allow the Department of Agriculture and Markets time to respond. So we're still within that 30-day window. So that'll be at the next meeting. Do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
Yeah, some things that are upcoming for us to look on our calendars. Coming up, we have on Saturday, April 12th, the Easter egg hunt from 12 o'clock to 2:30 at the rec center. That evening from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, there is the flashlight Easter egg hunt for teens. Summer registration for the Recreation Center programs opens on Monday, April 21st for Henrietta residents. On that day also, April 21st is opening day for the golf course and the disc golf course. Looking forward to that. Coming up as we welcomed 26 members into the Youth Hall of Fame by resolution tonight, the formal ceremony is May 4th, 2025, the Sunday at the RIT Inn and Conference Center. And the Splash Pad, scheduled opening date, Saturday, May 24th. I'm assuming that we will be reverting back to more normal weather by May 24th. I felt like walking in today was kind of a splash pad also. Hopefully one that we would not be braving in our bathing suits.
So I had a detailed tour of the golf course and the work done to date today. Spent about an hour and a half, went through everything, including the equipment, and some of the proposed things coming up. And I think before we open on the 21st, I'd offer my fellow board members and supervisor, I think we should go over there as a team if we could. I might send an email out to see if we could get together, take a couple golf courses, carts, and have Charlie explain to us what he's done and what's still to be done, and to just to review what they've done over there. You'd be impressed. It's changed a lot.
I do,
Well,
I have an appointment with them tomorrow to go in at like 7:15.
Then you're not invited.
Oh, okay, thanks a lot.
We'll go with that.
I'll go again. I'll go twice.
All right.
I will be at the 7:15.
Yeah, I know, right.
Sounds like a great idea, Rick. Every once in a while, Charlie will give me a call to
Okay.
update me the things that are going on, which is very nice. And he has invited me over, so yeah, when you guys get ready to go over, let me know. I'll
Yes,
be
I
glad
will.
to attend.
Thank you.
Yeah, Charlie and his team have done some amazing work over there. It's night and day. It really is. It's looking impressive. Can't wait.
There isn't one tree left, Rob, on any of the ponds.
He called me and told me that they're cutting down everything is gonna be great.
Yeah,
Maybe I
except
can
for-
find my balls now.
Except for if you know, unless you got scuba tanks.
So just to be clear, what Rick is referring to is that the prior management of the course allowed the boards to rot that hold essentially the weirs that maintain the level of the ponds. And as a result, the pond levels dropped and a bunch of, I'll call them weed trees, came in around the perimeter, which ruins the water trap. And so those have all been removed. Obviously, if there's a stately tree near the edge of the pond, those remain. This is just, like I said, what I'll call the weed trees that came in after the water levels were allowed to drop. So one of the things that work can only be done in the cold of winter, because otherwise everything gets stuck in the muck. So when it's brutally cold out there, they're out cutting the trees down and pulling them out of there and clearing that out. So it looks so much better.
Yeah, and in July, the Monroe County has a huge chipping machine, one of those great big industrial ones. They're gonna be coming in to take care of everything that they've taken down. And it's made the course so much more safer than some of those big old trees were, with the liability. So,
Right.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. I'll get in touch.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought the supervisor was gonna go, but I only have one thing. The American Red Cross, they're really down on blood. I used to do a drive in honor of my father every year. This year is gonna be June 26th. That's a Thursday over at the Henrietta Library from 1 to 6. I just ask everybody if you were a blood donator or if you know someone that does, can you let them know that they can donate blood on that day and help our community.
Great, thank you.
Anyways, last month I was gonna report on the fire district, their 2024 numbers. And so we skipped it last month and here we are. So currently they have 80 career firefighters and officers, 4 dispatchers, 4 civilians, and 56 volunteers for a total of 143. I won't go through all the equipment they have, but they have the engines, the trucks, the rescue work, some safety equipment, a boat, and couple trailers. But the key to this is, it's taken them up to 4 years now to get a new fire truck. And they got to prove it before you can even order it. You got to prove you have funding. The calls in 2024 were 7,286. That was up about 1.3% from 23. Almost close to 400 or 5.5% of them actually just went to RIT. So then that was RIT's property, not the like apartment complexes or anything, but just at RIT. So that was a large amount of those calls. They had 60 structure fires and 9 working fires that they went to. The working fires are much more serious than the structure fires. Had 598 car accidents, 94 responses to on the throughway, which takes up a lot of time and manpower. 6 declared hazmat incidents, and that works out to exceeds every month they exceed 500 calls a month. 5 had more than 600 calls, and 1 had over 700 calls in 1 month. Average 19.9 calls per day. 44% of the time there's simultaneously calls, 2 or more calls. Another thing to point out, they are the second busiest district in the county after the city. So volunteers were dispatched to almost 1,300 calls and responded to I'm sorry, the average response for was 86.5.
Oh, the response time.
Yeah, the response, how many the volunteers responded. I'm sorry about that. So let's get that. Just, you know, as the town grows, they got a lot of challenges too, they gotta, so that's one of the things that they're up against. And I think that is about it. I don't know if there's
So-
any questions I might be able to answer.
Mike, is it possible, the next time you report that you could break it down between medical calls versus fire calls, please?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will. And I thought I actually, Rick, I thought I had that with me and I.
It's no problem. Okay, thank you.
So, last month, the board attended a meeting with the school district to go over the upcoming proposed school district budget. The proposed increase in the tax levy is 4.2%. That's a little higher than normal, and part of the reason is coming out of Albany in 2027, they will no longer be able to buy non-electric buses. One of the problems is that the electric buses don't have enough range to cover approximately 2/3 of our routes, which means if they went to electric buses, they would have to purchase additional buses, which of course are, if I remember correctly, they said about 3 times the cost of the non-electric buses. And they'd have to hire more bus drivers. And so what they're doing is for this coming budget year, which is the last year they can purchase the non-electric buses, they are purchasing extras to cover them going forward. Because the other challenge is that if they were to put in an electric bus today, they'd have no place to charge it because RG&E does not have enough capacity on our the the transformers, not generators, you're wrong. The transformers at the substation to service the amount of electricity required to charge electric buses. So, and oh, by the way, they're not going to have those for at least 3 years, that capacity for at least 3 years. So, as a result, the school district is purchasing extra buses, which again will mean that this increase is a little larger than normal. But they've worked to otherwise keep it as small as possible. It is still below the tax cap, so it will not affect Star. The reason is because they get the 2% growth from the tax cap, plus the growth in the town, plus cut carryover from previous years when they were under the tax cap. So, obviously, that's going to be an increase in people's taxes by, again, roughly 4.2%. Any other comments?
There was a amount they gave for a $200,000 house, or a $400,000 house. How much it would go up? $130. I can't remember what.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have that with me.
Right. I
As
don't have it
mentioned, the
with me.
last meeting went so long, we ended up not doing the committee and miscellaneous reports from the board, which is when I did have that information. But
the vote is May 12th.
That I don't remember.
I think it's May 12th.
Sounds early.
It's May something.
You know what? I'll bet it's on their website. Let me double check that. Rush, Henrietta.
May 20th?
Yes.
Great. So the vote is May 20th. Make sure
Thank
you
you,
get
Rick.
out and vote.
Third Tuesday in May.
And that voting takes place at their transportation center, which is on Lehigh Station Road near Middle Road.
Great.
And if I remember correctly, last year, the first vote was it wasn't attended very well. Not many people voted.
Right.
So I encourage everybody to get out and vote.
Yeah.
So we only have to have one.
Yep. All right. Any other from the town board? Do we have anything from the public? Anything? Anybody? Busting your chops.
62 Wickline Lane, Nicholas. Now, I understand you said a 4.4% for this.
4.2%.
Sorry, 4.2% for this on the school taxes. Now, what does that on the overall levy at the flat rate? What does that basically come out to in dollars and cents? Do you know?
Again, I don't remember off the top of my
They had
head.
an estimate, but I don't.
No, well, they
recall
have an
it.
exact amount.
I know that on our tax bill, it said that the projected combined taxes per year is $156 for the year.
No, so that is something different.
That's different.
When your assessment changes, it does not increase the amount of taxes collected. What it changes
Well, that's
is,
not true. That's the bit, but go ahead.
you are wrong. It does not change because, to the point, right now, the school district is announced their levy and assessments aren't done. So if it was based off of assessments, then how could they possibly announce their levy until after assessments are done? That's not the case.
Well, maybe I'm thinking.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish. What assessments do determine is when I take that levy, how do I split it up amongst the 14,000 plus properties within the town? If your tax levy increases greater than the average, which this year is 35%, if your levy increases, if your assessment increases at a greater percentage than the average, then your portion of the taxes will increase. And that's what that sheet that you get reports. That is the potential change if the tax levies were the exact same amount the following year. It tells you that that's how much more you would pay because your portion of the taxes got larger. For everybody whose portion got larger, there is some corresponding portion that got smaller. When you add up all the changes, they add up to zero. Now, of course, that isn't necessarily true because a lot of the taxing authorities increased their levies. But for example, in the 5 years in a row where we issued the same tax levy all 5 years, even though some people's tax portions went up, some people's went down, the amount we collected was exactly the same, even though as assessments were rising. Because assessments were rising, the tax rate went from $1.40 per thousand down to 98 cents per thousand because we were collecting the same amount, but the overall total assessment went up in value.
But however, the point here is that what people are concerned about is not about what other people might pay that might be lower. They're concerned about what they're actually paying and is it increasing? Now, I can tell you right now that we received a 40% increase. It's very easy to do. All you have to do is take the former assessment and divide that into the new one, and that's the portion that it's going up based on that percentage. So the point of the matter is, you're right when you say about 36, 37, it's close enough. It's actually 40%, but that's neither here nor there. The point being, okay, is that it's still going up regardless for some people, even though you're collecting the same amount that you've been collecting.
Right. Some people's portions have gone up. We're not collecting additional taxes.
I'm not saying you are, but the fact is the county is getting it. That's who's
No,
getting
the
it.
county is not
Well,
getting
the
it.
state's not getting it.
No, no one's getting it. You're missing the point. If yours went up by $100, somebody else's went down by $100, and the amount the town gets is the same. The amount the county gets is the same. The amount the school district gets
Well, then where
is
is
the same.
money that I'm paying going? Who's getting it? Who's getting it?
Okay.
Who's getting it?
Think of a pizza, right? I've got a 16-inch pizza pie.
Right.
And I cut somebody a bigger slice. Does that create any more pizza?
No, but that
No,
person
but
gets
what-
a bigger slice. So
That person gets a bigger slice. What happens to the other slices?
they get smaller.
They get smaller. So who gets that from the overall pizza? Again, it's all the same amount. So your slice may have gotten bigger. There are other slices that have gotten smaller. Nobody gets the additional dollars.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm still paying out that amount regardless of who gets it.
But let me.
Right. You're paying more.
It's what's
Someone
coming-
else
right,
is
it's coming
paying
out-
less.
What's coming out of my pocket? Yeah.
Right.
But let me interject something.
Go ahead.
Please. We're responsible for the town's portion.
Yeah, I know that.
Of all the taxes that you pay, the town is 3.8%.
Right.
3.8%.
I know it's a small amount.
It's minuscule.
I
The
understand,
lowest, okay.
but the
The
county,
school district's in the 50%. And the county's roughly 20-some
that's
percent,
exactly right. They're the ones that are getting the bulk of that it's being paid out.
which
by me.
which we don't have any control over.
I know you don't
Well,
get that. I understand.
Right,
that.
but the point is, they're not getting any additional money because your assessment went up. If
Well,
you're,
they're getting-
if
they're getting-
you are paying more, somebody else is paying less. Now, the problem is, with the current system, if you look at real estate, what's happening, first off, residential real estate market is running crazy,
Of course.
right?
Yeah. I
And
agree.
the average increase in the, or not the average increase, sorry, the rise in the median home value in Henrietta over the time of this, since the last assessment, is 38%.
Wait a minute, hold on. I want to write that down because I tried to get that and I still don't have it.
It's 38%. That was
38% median value?
that was the rise in the median value according to the MLS. That was the increase in the median home value in Henrietta.
Not
That-
the median. I know the difference.
The median,
The
yeah.
median, okay.
The average increase in assessment was 35%. Now,
Hold
part
on,
of the,
average assessment increase. Wait, hold on.
yep, is 35%. So if you add up all the assessments, this is prior to any adjustments. So
Right,
that
any
percent
cost
can
adjustments
change.
or anything else. Yeah,
No, I mean, the people have come in for informals, and if
Right.
they, obviously, if they change assessments, that's gonna change the
course.
final answer. But one of the things that you're seeing, though, is when I look at that growth, and I'm a perfect example, because I own a very high-end home and I own an entry-level home. Okay, my high-end home went up by $200,000 from, and I'm rounding numbers off just to make it easier, from 650 to 850. Okay, that represents about a 30% increase. Because that's below 35% increase, my tax burden on that property will actually go down some. The property we own across the street is an entry-level home that we bought for my father-in-law. We pay the taxes on it. That home went from 180,000 to 300,000.
Yeah,
That is a 66% increase. The tax burden on that property is going up $1,000. On my property, it's going down by a couple hundred. Again, these are both properties we own. Now, don't get me wrong, I still pay 3 times the taxes on my large home than we do on the entry-level home we bought for my father-in-law. But 2 years ago, it was 4x. And 10 years ago, it was 5x. What's happening is with this market and the current real property tax laws is it's shifting the tax burdens from the high-end homes to the low-end homes. Again, the high-end homes are still paying more, but it used to be a greater level. So that's very problematic, especially to people on low incomes.
yes, it is.
So that the law really needs to change. It really does. I'm beating the door in Albany. Unfortunately, right now, they're still in budget discussions. But basically, I am on our senator's agenda once he returns to Rochester after the budget talks are done. The second thing that's happening is whereas residential real estate is going crazy, that is not the case in commercial. If you think about it, there's a lot more companies that allow work from home. As a result, you don't need as much office space. There is a lot of vacant office space. When I have high supply and low demand,
Yeah,
you don't see the big increases, right? In
no,
housing, it's the opposite. I have high demand and low supply. So residential is going crazy. Office space, not so much. In fact, a lot of those properties are actually coming down. Same thing with, if you think about all the vacant storefronts, as more and more stuff moves to online instead of brick and mortar, again, there isn't the great demand. I have high supply, low demand, so the value of those, they may not be coming down, but they're not rising to the rate at which the residential. So again, you're seeing a shift of the tax burden from the commercial properties to the residential. It's the whole ad valorem system. I wish they would get rid of it. It's a silly way to tax.
I agree, but let me say something with what you said earlier. In the New York State manual, they do address the high to low value. Okay, and there's a calculation that is supposed to offset that whole thing. It's called the price rate related differential calculation. Now, I foiled that I was gonna get into this in my agenda, since you kind of like went right into it, I may as well address it now. What I am being told initially, and this is coming directly from Mrs. Jorstad from the State Office of Real Property Tax Services. They are stating that they did not do a price-related differential calculation, which is supposed to address that very issue that you just brought up about the difference between the low-end homes and the high-end homes. That's what that does, and they didn't do it because they state that since they made the decision to assess at 100% full market value, instead of doing a fractional assessment, which they could have done, but they choose not to, and there's no stipulated level for New York State. There's no law that stipulates a specific level like other states. But because that wasn't done, there is nothing to offset these ridiculous, as you pointed out, volatile market, problems. Now, I mean, I don't always agree with you on everything, on most things not, but on this one, okay, if you really believe that the system is broken, and I've sat here and stated over and over again that the system is broken. The math simply does not bear out. It doesn't add up. Okay, it's pretty clear from that. It simply does not add up. Not according to the actual numbers that are being paid out. I don't know what everybody else is doing. I only know what I'm paying. Okay, there's been a steady increase every time the assessment's gone up. The taxes have gone up, even if it's $5.32. The only two times it went down from that table is last year and the year before. They went down. There was a negative drop, and that's because the assessment time adjustment roll for the assessment roll went down by 2%. There was a difference from last year from 13% to 11%. It went down. The question is, you cannot possibly have a drop in the time adjustment assessment roll levy that's stated at the same time while having an increase in everything else. The two do not work, and they don't go together. It's just not mathematically possible. Something is being done that's wrong somewhere. I'm not saying you're doing it. I'm not saying she's doing it. I'm saying whatever they're doing up at the state, or whoever is putting the information in to the RPS software that is being used across the board on all platforms, whoever is the one that's doing that, something is not correct.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree with your assertions there. I don't necessarily agree that your math is correct. I've seen some of your proofs, for instance. You seem to have confusion between causation and correlation.
Not according to the book definitions that are there. Example, it's a mathematical certainty that when you use a sample size less than 20, and the manual recommends 30 at least, okay, that your mean is going to be severely skewed to the right because of the fact that you're not using enough samples to represent the population that you're trying to sample.
But one of the things that you have a tendency to do is when someone tries to give you evidence to the contrary, you refuse to take it, you refuse to accept it.
I have to look at the evidence and then
right, but then when someone tries to hand you something, you say, I'm not going to take that. So for instance, you've accused them of not doing, I want to get the exact language here. That they did not do a field review of your property.
They mandated in the manual.
One was conducted on January 3rd. The assessor tried to hand it to it. You didn't want to hear it. You didn't want to accept it.
She never came to the field review. Means that you have to go to the property in the field.
I know what it means. They were there.
They never came out.
They did.
Well, I was never told.
Well, they can't come in the house anyway.
They weren't doing it from. Yeah.
But I mean, at least if you're coming out, at least.
They did come out.
Okay, well, I never got anything. She never handed me anything in 2022 that says they came out. I requested.
No, we're talking about this year.
This year?
Of January 3rd.
I never got anything. I never got anything stated that they came out and what they found. I never got anything.
Again, she tried to hand it to you and you didn't want to hear it. You didn't want it.
That's not true. She never handed me anything of the kind.
Okay.
I'm not lying. I have the whole interview on tape.
Okay.
The whole thing was videotaped. She never handed me anything.
You've also, submitted something or been in the office 12 times since Friday.
I've been in the office 3 times to
3/28.
submit attachments for this meeting.
And submitted you want me to read the times? Friday, 3/28/2025, 3:07 a.m., claiming your rights were violated by the assessor. I said you either emailed or visited the office.
Oh, email
Yeah.
orders, well, that's true. And
Yeah.
525 is being violated because only this Board of Assessment Review may schedule those hearings. It makes no mention of the assessor's office anywhere. It makes no mention of transfer of authority anywhere. It doesn't say that they have the right to transfer the authority to the assessor's office.
They're not transferring the authauthority.
That's what she stated. She said.
So what they have, no.
She vocally stated
Stop,
on the tape.
stop.
I have it on audio tape, videotape.
Your interpretation of stuff is often skewed. So just
It goes by
understand.
what was actually said.
Let me finish.
ahead.
So prior to the publishing of the preliminary assessment rolls,
Right.
the assessor is free to make changes. So they have what's an informal process where you can present stuff, and if she agrees with your argument, she can change it prior to the publishing of that roll. Once that roll is published, she can no longer change stuff.
I understand
Only the Board of Assessment Review can make the changes. And therefore, there's no shifting of authority.
We're not
or
talking
anything like
about
that.
making changes. We're talking about the scheduling of the hearings. It specifically states, the Board of Assessment Review shall fix the time and the dates by which hearing has assessments for complaints and grievances shall be heard.
And they have
Not give the assessor's office the authority to do the scheduling for them, and that's what's been going on. I have the cards from the assessor's office every year.
Have any been scheduled for this year?
Not as of yet, but I suspect that she's gonna do
Okay.
the same thing, because on videotape, she stated that I'm not gonna hear from the Board of Assessment Review when it comes to scheduling this grievance. That means that there's an intent there to violate that statute.
I don't agree. You're misinterpreting what's being
I'm not
said. You're taking
misinterpreting. It
stuff
says
out of
very
context.
clearly, read
Well,
it, it's in
again,
your packet.
So, you always file this stuff. We hear, ad nauseum, blah, 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 blah.
It's not blah, blah, blah.
Let me finish. And you keep filing, I don't know, what's there been, over a dozen files of notice of affidavit?
No, notices of claim. and I'm
Notices of
entitled
claim,
to
sorry, notices of claim. Sue or don't sue?
It's
But-
not up to you to tell me when to do it and how to do it.
But let me finish. But stop your specious arguments here at town board. You're asking us to make changes to stuff we cannot change. You try to put in this presentation about, that, how you say the state can't dictate law. They can.
Not
And
to know, I
let
cannot
me-
dictate it to you.
let me finish. They absolutely can. And let me give you, it just happened. So the Rush Town Board attempted to throw out the assessments. They passed a resolution to do so. The very next morning, the state vacated that.
Do you have,
Town
I'd
board.
like to see, do you have it?
It's right on their website.
Whose website?
Rush, the town of Rush. It's right on their website. Go read it. They've got a big red box that says, "We're sorry, we didn't have the authority to do this." It's right on their website.
Who didn't have the authority? The town? of
The town board of the town of Rush. Do you not listen?
I'm listening, but I want to make sure that I've got it clear.
Okay, well, you've got your camera, you've
Well,
got the
I'll tell you
recorded
what,
minutes.
then what the town should do in that case is they should sue the state. They have a right to do it. They have a right to do it, but they do.
No,
There's a,
not
there's a-
under real
there's a-
property.
There's a law
Well,
under the New York State Consolidated. Assessment
Whatever.
that
You're,
the
you're,
state
on-
may not dictate to a local town government or any town or village how to govern or conduct their business. Or
that's
to
not what
do.
they're saying. It's not a question of government. The town doesn't have the authority to overrule the rules of real property tax law. We don't.
I
There
never
are,
said you did. I'm going by the real property tax. law.
okay, whatever. Thank you very much.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
By the way, I didn't get to make my other points.
Okay,
The other point is that on the table there, I was the one that caught the mistake that was just changed out in the hallway.
whatever.
Okay, it's not whatever. Okay? All right, and I've